Logic Pro Global Changes Overview. In addition to working with individual tracks, regions, and channel strips, you can manipulate different aspects of an overall project. Okay, so not only are we dealing with the individual tracks, not only are we dealing with the regions per se, the channel strip as a whole by way of processing, but we're dealing with the global tracks or global changes, okay? You can control the overall volume by using the master volume slider. Now, unless you know what this really is, I highly suggest that you deactivate it inside of Customize Control Bar on Display right here at the bottom. Please do not use this. I feel like it can cause more issues. Now, if you're an absolute beginner, I do want you to have it on. But for those of you that already kind of passed the gate, if you will, I want you to turn that off. And if you want to control your volume per se, you shouldn't be doing it by way of the master. Now, as you can see on this track, I do have it reduced by -9 decibels, but that's only strictly because I am doing this for audio purposes so that when we listen back, it's not playing too loud. But generally speaking, you would have this at unison here, so 0, right? So let me go ahead and bring that back down, okay? So this channel strip, to be clear, is the same channel strip or volume slider that you would find up here in the control bar, okay? All right, what else? We can tag different parts of a project, and then you can select and edit those parts using markers. All right, so there's an entire world of markers that we can utilize inside of global tracks. Key command is G, by the way, to go ahead and turn that on. If I control click the global tracks, we find some more information here, right? And we can enable or disable all of the various global tracks, but we can also configure the global tracks by hitting Option G, and here we can disable and enable all as well. And if we need to revert back to default settings, we can do that here. I'm going to leave all of them on for now. All right, so in terms of markers, we can tag these. There's actually a lot more in terms of what we can learn here and how we can utilize these. But for now, just understand that we can double click. We can also hit the corresponding key command. I believe it's Shift apostrophe, right? In fact, let me turn on my key commands here. All right, let's see if you guys can check this out. No, you cannot. It's not working today. All right, I'll try and see if I can get this sorted. But yeah, let's keep it going. Inside of the global tracks, we will also find arrangement markers. So you can organize a project into sections and quickly rearrange those sections. So why would you use arrangement markers, and how do they differ from markers? Again, we will go over that in a second, but to give you some information right off the bat, arrangement markers has to do with arranging a song in a very quick and easy fashion. We can use markers to pull off a couple things, but what's going to get you there the fastest way is to quickly arrange using arrangement markers. Okay, time signature, right? So here we can affect the ruler and the score editor display. We can change the key, we can change the time signature, we can control the project tempo and affect the project mode. So are we in smart tempo or are we in keep tempo? So all of that can also be utilized inside of Logic. But predominantly with project tempo, we're looking at changing the project tempo over time. Think like going faster or going slower, or perhaps for a verse, you just slow it down all the way. So this is a perfect example how you can do that. Often overlooked, transpose. This is a really fine feature where you're allowed to take a section of a project or the entire project, and we can literally change it to a different key. So most people look to time signature where they probably should be looking at transpose. Transposition affects the playback of MIDI regions and Apple loops. So, we're always talking about deciphering the language and what's important and what's not. Transposing affects the playback of MIDI regions and Apple loops in the project. So that's good. And can also apply to audio regions. Okay, and it's saying, hey, look, also, you can also utilize this for either recorded audio or third-party samples, loops. And I'm assuming that it doesn't say that, but that would be my assumption. Finally, beat mapping. This seems to be a relic of the past. I'm sure that you can still use it, but again, it's just not often talked about, and hence this is why I refer to it as a relic. Let's learn a little bit more about this. You map notes not in a strict tempo with beats in the ruler by using beat mapping. This is something that we can now do automatically by means of smart tempo, adapt tempo, and so I would love to learn some of the benefits of beat mapping. Let's see how this carries on. All right, Logic Pro features several ways to control aspects of the overall project, as we mentioned. Signature track, the tempo, the transposition, all this good stuff. For video projects, you can use the movie track. So when we import a movie, now we can view movies in frames, right, while we work on the project. For those of you that are composers, or you're just writing jingles, or you're just trying to do something nice for a friend, all of this can be worked out. You can also add effects to output or auxiliary tracks. Okay, so let's pay attention here. We can add effects to outputs or auxiliary tracks and automate effects and other parameters on output or aux tracks, which can affect the overall project. So this almost seems like a side note that has nothing to do with global tracks, unless I don't see the correlation. But yeah, yes, it's true. We can put audio inserts effects on aux tracks and output tracks as well. All right, let's carry on here. Page 699. Using global tracks. Logic Pro includes a set of global tracks that you can use to control different aspects of the overall project. Now, something that most people don't know, in my opinion, is that you actually have global tracks inside of the audio track editor, the piano roll editor, and the step editor. When you show the global tracks, they appear below the ruler. So if I go into the piano roll, for example, key command P. Hold on, there's something that should be working and it's not. I want to know why. One sec. All right, good. So key focus is inside of the piano roll, as you can see right here. And when I hit the key command G, here we are. We have the global tracks inside of the piano roll. Now, why this is important, if you remember one of the previous videos that we did here on the channel, if you've been following the series, we talked about screen sets extensively and how you can set those up. Well, if I have the piano roll set up on a separate screen, and I'm just going to do this quickly now, but again, please refer back to that video. So I'll hit Command 4, and so you can see that I have a piano roll that is encompassing the entire screen. So if I hit G, all of a sudden we see that we have the global tracks and we can access those settings. And of course, any and all changes will be reflected in the primary window as well. So I created a tempo change there. I will hit Command W. I know that this is in focus because these circles are in color, and so then hence Logic is telling me, hey, this is good, this is on, this is in key focus. I'll hit Command W. Now these are in focus, as you can see on the top left, and so we are in effect ready to look at the tracks area. So I will hover in a little bit tighter here, my good friends. So you see what's going on here? I created that change. This is what we're looking at. Let me hit Command Z, and that should take me back. All right, very good. All right, so we have arrangement tempo track, right, contains a project tempo, and we can also create project sets, so tempo sets, arrangement sets, and so that allows us to experiment when we want to. Let me, 1 second here, just give me 1 sec, hold on. All right, excuse me. All right, so now we're looking at transposition. So it contains transposition events used to transpose parts of a project up or down. So this is useful. Let's say we have a verse with a minor progression, and maybe I'll record something in a bit here, and we want to transpose it. Now we could do all the legwork inside of either the region inspector or the track inspector, but it's probably easier to use the transposition track and just raise it up 3 semitones or down 3 semitones in order to get a nice sound. So let's be clear, transposition is going to affect MIDI, Apple loops, and can also affect audio regions. So again, they're just kind of repeating themselves, which is good. Let's keep going. Marker track. Anything that we should, distinguish and look at here. What's different? Oh yeah. So now they're talking about the length of the marker. We can contain text inside of the markers, and there's a marker list, which we'll talk about later. We can color the markers, which is really nice, especially if you have a singer or you need to cue somebody in on a section like, hey, come in on the blue part or what have you. We have a signature track here. If you want to change time and or key signatures, which is really good, especially if you're working within the score editor. And finally, beat mapping. Let me just read this because I don't know a lot about it. Used to adjust the tempo to follow recordings that do not follow a strict tempo without changing the rhythmic feel. Again, I would just utilize Smart Tempo for that, but we're still going to look at it. Again, the key command is G to be able to look at this and resize. Resizing is as simple as just hovering over the section as we have done before. You can see that the icon changes from the hand tool to this resize tool. Bear in mind that if I utilize the hand tool when I'm hovering using the pointer tool, I can click, hold, and then reposition, right? So I'll put the transpose lane or track all the way at the top. And so then now you can see I've rearranged these, right? So I'm resizing them now just by hovering over and just getting a sense of how I can line all this up. Okay, that looks good. In terms of adding markers and such, you're going to need to either hit a key command or highlight and click on that plus button. And there are different ways to perform that same action for different items here. So let's keep this train going. Page 700, Eddie Gray reading the Logic User Guide. All right. Again, key command is G. We can also click on that button right there, and that will get us to the same place. All right, if we want to show or hide individual tracks, we can control click anywhere in the global tracks area. That will bring up a contextual shortcut menu, and we can disable tracks from there. It also says then choose specific tracks from the submenu. So track global, hold on, I want to see something up here. I don't see anything up here about track. Oh, global tracks. Okay, I didn't even know you could do it that way. So if you go to tracks and you hover over global tracks, apparently we can show and hide various features here. Again, option G is going to show me this menu, which I prefer. You can also control click on the global tracks and get this contextual menu, or of course configure global tracks utilizing this menu here. Awesome. All right, let's see, anything else? Choose which global tracks are displayed. We've talked about this already. If you haven't kind of caught the running theme here, if you control click anywhere in Logic, you get more information. You get a shortcut menu that can be really helpful. So please try that out. Take 5 minutes and control click just everywhere on tracks, in the tracks area, in the piano roll, in the track inspector, in the left channel strip, et cetera, et cetera. You can also assign and use any of the following show hide key commands. So apparently we have key commands as well. And there's also click the enable or disable all buttons to show the global tracks, or use the corresponding key command for that as well. I don't use it as much, and so I don't want to assign a key command. If I ever assign a key command, it's simply because I'm starting to use this feature quite a bit, or I'm using it a lot for this specific project or whatever it is I'm working on. In that case, I would create a key command that's project specific. Okay, resize, we talked about that. Nothing special here, right? We can change the order. We can protect these, and that actually may be important. You can prevent unintentional changes to individual global tracks. So we're not looking or seeing that right now, my good friends, but that's simply because we haven't configured the track header. If I hit Option T, or I control click, again, going back to my previous example, we now see that we can configure track header, in which case you will see this contextual menu, and I'm going to go ahead and enable protect. So then now nothing wrong can happen, so to speak. Now bear in mind, if I hit Z and I get a macro view, I have more than one track, so I'm going to have to create a selection, and now everything is protected. So let's say I mistakenly delete this region by mistake. It'll say here, hey, you cannot do that, so I will cancel. Let's say I want to change something within a plugin parameter. I can do that. So this is a good function for mixing, and yet if you're looking to protect your track, this is a fantastic way of making sure that happens. This does not only apply to the tracks themselves, my good friends, but it also applies to the global tracks. As you can see here, we have the ability to protect each and every one of these lanes. All right, let's keep it going. Page 702. All right, we were referring to markers and marker lists. Let's get right into it. You can use markers to tag different parts of the project. So this is when we start to distinguish ourselves as professionals, right? We start doing the small things. We can quickly select the parts for playback, arranging, and editing. So language, it's important. What are they saying? Quickly select parts for playback. Number one, arranging, which can coincide with the arrangement marker. We'll talk about that later. And then editing, right? So there's some information here that can be useful in terms of editing as well. Let's find out how. Markers can help you organize and also act as storage areas for locator positions. Okay, so by way of key command, I can hit numerical key number 1. That takes me to marker 1. I can hit numerical key number 2. That takes me to marker number 2, regardless of its name or given name. Like if you called marker number 2 the hook, for example, I don't have to hit H or anything, right, to signify the hook. If I just hit the key command 2, that will take me there. And if you need some more information on this, I highly recommend you start to study the key command window in here just to kind of, wrap your head around it. So as you can see, let's see here. Let me type in marker. And it says go to marker number 1, right? So I can fix this however I deem fit in order to fit my workflow. So you don't always have to use your mouse or your keys per se. All right. You can view and edit markers in the following work areas. Marker tracks displays markers as rectangular sessions. You can select, copy, move. Okay, so not only do we have the global tracks available to us, if I hit the key command D, right, like dog, I have a marker event list here. So I have the ability to view, edit, copy, paste all my markers here. So this is a bit more of a subjective way of doing it. So let's say I wanted to add a marker to bar 9 per se. Then I would click on that insignia right there, that plus symbol, right? And now I have a newly created marker. You may have noticed that every time I create a marker, at least in my session, all the markers are being automatically colored. And so that's a setting inside of one's preferences. And so if you want to set that up, let me see if I can get that going for you. I'm pretty sure this is under display. I'm pretty sure it's under tracks, and right here where it says marker color, you can just auto assign. I have it set to 24, but again, go ham. Feel free to set it up how you like. So we also have the marker list, and there's actually more info here, but again, I want to save some for later. But yeah, you can create your marker sets here in this menu, and then there's some really cool stuff here to look at. But more importantly, you can create your marker sets here. There's an up and down arrow menu, which is kind of hard to see. It's not really that visible. But as soon as you hover over any of these global tracks, you will begin to see this distinction. You'll be able to look at the kind of hollow nature of the shading behind. And so when I click here, you'll see that we get some new language, and there's more that we can do. If I want to create a new marker set, I can. Why? For experimentation purposes, creative purposes, and perhaps remixes, all that good stuff. All right, let's keep it moving. So there's some really cool stuff you could do here in terms of communicating with collaborators, communicating with yourself if you're busy. So we have the marker list, which displays marker names, bar positions. So, a lot of people, as far as, my estimation goes, they don't really use the list editors. And I honestly, I think that's to their detriment. Just yesterday, I had a session. I was writing for a new series that's coming out. I'll tell you more about it later. But essentially, I had a region that was quite literally, let me fabricate this, but it was this tiny. I mean, it was even smaller than that. It was imperceptible. It was like this. Okay, so let me delete this information so you can really understand what I'm saying. And I had no way to really resize the region simply because it was just too tiny. It was even smaller than this. Quite seriously, it was even smaller than that. I could not grab it. And so look, let me show you how cumbersome this can be. I'm going to hover over this, and I can't even hover in such a way where I can access the resize tool, right? And so this is almost an impossible situation where I would have to delete the audio region in question, perhaps copy and paste it from somewhere else, duplicate it. It's a messy affair. But if I could show you here, and again, thank you for being with us today. Just really grateful to be able to learn this program with you. You got to remember that, I get to learn this twice, and I'm just so grateful that I get to learn it with you. So much appreciated. Thank you. And so when I look at this here and I'm trying to resize it, it seems like an impossible, act. But if you really start to look at it, if I go into the event list editor, you can see that actually this event is right here. And so theoretically, if I look at this really from a very objective point of view, I can now resize by utilizing bars, beats, divisions, ticks. If you don't know what I'm looking at, go ahead and, my highlighter is not necessarily working today, but right here, guys, bottom right, that's the audio region. I'm just going to increase it. And now check this out. I've managed to, here, let me hit Command Z so you see that there wasn't any kind of wizardry, right? I took the length inside of the list editor, the event list editor, and I was able to troubleshoot. And so when we look at the event editors, marker editor, tempo editor, these are here to help us troubleshoot and navigate the program. So I'm not saying that you have to be a bona fide, event list user editor, but please understand its usages and when and where it can help you. All right. Everything's looking good. I might have missed us. Hold on. Let me go back here. I think we missed. All right. If you want to look at the marker list as a separate window, if we go to navigate up here, we can go to open marker list, open marker text. So here's the list. So that's a separate menu. What about open text? What is this about? Oh, cool. So now we got something here. So let's pretend, for example, my good friends, that like on this marker right here, I start, really kind of putting in some necessary text, like, hey, grab a percussion and play, 16th note, or what have you. It doesn't really matter. But the point is that I can utilize this marker list to help me see things a little bit better. So look at this. Imagine I have a singer and, they're in another room perhaps, or, I don't have another room in this specific studio, but I did in my last studio. So this was really helpful because when they would look through the screen, I didn't have a secondary screen. So they were able to look at cues that I was giving them or what have you, right? That's one way to think about it. But I mean, really, whatever you say goes. I mean, this can be anything you want. It could be lyrics for them, that you're just writing down and, hey, can you say this word again? What's this word, or whatever it is. Just want to make sure you understand how that works and how that flows. All right. There's a text window. We just mentioned that. Many marker related commands can be accessed by control clicking in the marker track. So if we control click here, what do you know? We can configure global tracks this way, but I'm not sure this is what they were referring to. I think they were referring to something here. Let me just make sure. I'm control clicking and I don't see what they're talking about. Hold on. Let's see. Control clicking in the marker track or marker list. So Logic Pro preferences, general editing pane. Okay, let me just options. Wow, these guys took it to a whole nother level. Options, general, editing, and then open shortcut menu. Is that what I have? Yes, it is. Okay, so they're stating that if I control click in the marker track or the marker list, that supposedly we get some information that should be helpful. Select all inside locators. Oh yeah, okay, so it looks like there's something happening. Again, not exactly clear how this is supposed to help me. I mean, that feature was kind of cool. I control click, convert to scene marker. Not even sure what that is, so maybe we'll just kind of wait before we get into it. But yeah, you can change the timing as well. This could be helpful for a film, I would assume. Let's keep it going. So 704, what else we got? Adding markers, right? So you can use the pencil tool. Work with snap to grid. We can hit the plus symbol as mentioned, which again abides to the snap to grid mode. If you don't have no idea what I'm talking about, please watch the series. I go over this from ground zero. We really start to build our logic chops. There's a key command as well, option apostrophe from what I remember. Let's keep going here. Add a marker rounded to the nearest bar. So you can add a marker so that it basically aligns with the bar as well. Check that out. Add a marker without the rounding. I don't know why you would want to do this, but I'm sure in the world of film there's some real case uses. But for most of us in music production, we would just want to add a marker rounded to the nearest bar. Wait, there was 2 more items I missed there. Add a marker at a rounded playhead position and add a marker and set its position. What does that mean? Click in the marker list area with the pencil tool, then enter a position in the position field. Okay, so for example, I'm going to hit TP to access the pencil tool. If I, it's not letting me, not sure what that was about. Click in the marker list with the pencil tool. Okay, this is the marker list, and I have the pencil tool, but nothing is happening. So I'm pretty sure this is wrong, and by wrong I just mean not updated, but again, not exactly sure. For now, I will just cross it out, and let's keep going. 705. All right, add markers at the position of all selected regions. What does that mean? In the marker track, click and hold the word marker and then choose create markers from regions from the shortcut menu. Create markers from regions. All right, I want to try this. And what did they say? Click and hold? Yeah, okay. So let's look at my track here. Let me hit D to close that. And here where it says marker, I'm going to click and hold, create markers from regions. All right. All right, cool. That's really interesting. I just want to know if it did that based on, it did it. I'm kind of curious how this is happening. Is it based on the track that's in focus? So like right now, the drum squeezed kit is in focus. And so if I click here and I create markers from, so basically it's going to take the regions from the track and create various markers. I don't want that. So is there anything else there? Create from arrangement markers. If you have arrangement markers, you can have them create markers automatically, or you can convert to arrangement markers so that you don't have to, do the work twice, essentially. So I just created arrangement markers for my current marker settings. I'll hit Command Z to undo that. All right, 706, we can copy C, copy V. We can duplicate the way that we know how. Let's see, we can grab these and move them around if you want to. These will abide to, the rules. The rules are snap to grid, so just be aware of that. Of course, if my track is protected, then it renders that null and void. You're not going to be able to move it, but otherwise everything's looking good. In the marker list, again, you can copy C, copy V. I wonder if you can drag or something like that. Let me see this. Wait, I need to go to navigate, marker list. And so if I grab this and option drag it down, nope, you can't do that, but I'm pretty sure you can copy C, copy V, and create a new one there. Cool, I'm gonna leave this open just in case. We talked about protecting. We can also SMPTY lock. So this is another feature. Rather than protecting, we can use SMPTY lock, which is really nice. So let's say I don't want this marker to move at all. I'm 100% sure that on bar 13, the hook will begin. In which case, we're going to go to, what is it, edit? Did I not catch that properly? Is it up here, edit? Hold on, I think I missed it. Yeah, options. Okay, cool. Now what's interesting is I don't see options here, so it's probably functions. Yeah, okay. So we need to update that. Cool. So now this is SMPTY lock. What does that mean? That means if I try to move it to the right or I mistakenly do so, it will not let me. It's going to be like, no, we do not, abide. We're not going to let you. So I can delete it. I want to be clear about that. And hence, that is why you would protect it. But in terms of moving it, you cannot do it so long as SMPTY lock is on. Cool. All right. So let's keep it going. 707. The command lock fixes the time position of markers right? And hence you're going to see a lock symbol inside of the event list editor. For example, I will simply lock this region by hitting Command Page Down. You can also control click and access the menu in that way. Once I open up the editor, you will see a lock right there, my good friends. All right, we can change the length of the markers. All easy stuff. Let's read the tip. If you set the length of a marker to 1 tick, the marker automatically extends to the start of the next marker. That's interesting. I don't know if I'm going to use that or not, but we got to try it. So I'm going to resize this one and make it 1 tick. So we're going to, try and mess this up, and it doesn't let us. It literally just takes us home and it's like, yep, you want this to go to the next marker. Actually, that's a nice little tip. Again, not sure if I would use it or not. I'm sure there will come a day. So here we go. 708. Trim the start or end point of a marker. So if you press and hold Command and click the pointer to click the marker at the point you want to trim the end point, press and hold Shift Command to click the pointer. Oh, can you create markers that way? Hold on. To trim the end point, you want to press and hold Command. Okay, so me press and hold Command. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty useful. So let's say this marker is too long, and I know for sure I just want it to be 4 bars. I hold Command, and it'll just resize it. That's sweet. I like that a lot. I'm going to highlight all this, and then as far as the ending the start point, because that was the end, you have to Shift Command. So let's say I know for sure I want it to start at bar 10, Shift Command, boom. Now, and it actually creates another one for you. How about that? Nice. Let's do one more right here. Okay, so that actually moved it over, pretty sweet. And then I'm gonna hit /, and then I'll hit bar 11. Okay, Option comma next to the return button, whatever that. I'm a music guy. All right, so then all of a sudden now I can rename by hitting Shift apostrophe. Wait, I went to the wrong one. Shift comma no, that's apostrophe. Good, and then all of a sudden from here, we can rename this. So, second verse or what have you, right? Sweet. All right, cool. So adjust a marker to fit the cycle area. Well, one thing we could do really quick that I know just off the top of my head is, obviously this is given that the marker is set to a perfect integer or a perfect number. Command U is just going to create a cycle region around it, and you can move that accordingly. But that's cool. What are they saying here? This ensures that you do not accidentally move the cycle when creating markers. Okay, so tell me what to do. Drag the cycle area onto a mark. Oh, Am I reading this correctly? Let me see. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to drag it down here. No. Grab this and drag it up. Okay, that's pretty cool. So let's say, and by the way, you could have used the key command, probably a little faster, but what if you don't remember it or something? If I grab the marker 2 and I drag it up into the cycle region, up into the ruler, I can create an automatic left and right locator or cycle region. Pretty sweet. I like that a lot. Thank you, Logic. It's really nice. Such a great program. So let me see. Where was that? Just to be sure. Right. I'm just going to highlight the whole thing. Okay. Good. Very good. Create markers when moving the dragging the cycle is limited to either horizontal or vertical moves. Move the cycle when creating markers by dragging the cycle into the lower third of the ruler. Create markers when moving the cycle. Create markers when moving the cycle. When you press and hold Shift after clicking and holding the cycle can be moved horizontally and then dragged to a marker in one go. When you press and hold Shift before clicking the cycle, the nearest cycle border is set to the click. Geez, that's like Chinese right there. If anybody can help me out, I do not know that language. Let me know. Click and hold Shift. I don't see any differences between what just happened. Again, let me try holding Shift first. Yeah, that might be something that I have to digest a little bit later. It's a lot of words there. So let's see. When you press and hold Shift after clicking and holding the cycle can be moved horizontally and then dragged to a marker Okay, so hold on. Nah, not getting that one. All right, so I'm gonna leave this one to you guys. Let me know what you think. This one seems a little strange. I understand the how between it, but it's just this right here just seems a little like what I'm not sure what they're saying. What you should hold after clicking and holding the cycle. The cycle can be moved horizontally. I know that, but you don't have to hold shift. So like, I can grab this, for example, and move it. So what, I'm just not sure why you would hold shift. That's my main gripe with this, is just not understanding the why behind it. When you press and hold shift before clicking the cycle. Anyway, so we'll leave that one up for grabs, and I took a picture of it, so I will look at it a little bit later. I just want to keep it going. We can color markers if you want. Okay, so basically, let's say we wanted to color this one. We know that I've auto assigned, but for whatever reason, if you want to color, you could do that in this menu right here. If you want to change the appearance of text, we would have to double click the marker you want to change. In this case, I'll use marker number 3. Is there a way to look at? Oh, okay. This is kind of interesting. I would love to be able to pull up the marker list from here, but it doesn't look like there's a way to do that. Double click the marker text you want to change. See what I'm saying? When I double click, that's not what happens. If I go to the marker list, I can double click this, and this helps a little bit. And of course we can use the marker list up here, but basically they're just telling you to go to this what would this be called? A font menu list or something. And you want to increase the size of it, you can, right? You can be as descriptive as you want. We can change the actual font, create favorites. Looks like there's a bunch of cool things you can do here as well. So yeah, look into this whole thing. Change the appearance of the text by using the font window. Renaming markers, we talked about that already. Just seeing if there's anything new. If you go to options, you can also rename. So if I go and that has been aptly renamed functions. So I just want to be clear about that. Although I don't see the ability to change a name inside of here. But I mean, it's probably somewhere else as well. But it says options marker. So yeah, I don't see options here. Yeah, so I think that's an archaic feature. So let's go ahead and again, I could be wrong. I just want to be clear. Let's go 710. Same thing goes here. You could just double click, select the marker name, double click in the marker text. All basic stuff here. We're just dealing with the operating software now. All stuff that most of us already know. It says in Logic Pro, command double click a marker, then enter a new marker name. Command double click. Okay. I don't believe I have to hold command to do that, but I'm going to try it. Nope. Yeah, that's it. Just contradicted what they were talking about before, which is to create a start and end point. And so this right here is null and void as well. All right, 711. Edit a marker name in the marker text window. All the same stuff that you would usually do. The first portion of text in the window is used as the marker name. All text below the first paragraph is also displayed in the marker track if space allows. Of course, we can resize this to view all text. So let's say I had something really important to say here. So long as I resize, we can see the text. In fact, let's see if I could change the size of this text. Okay, cool. So notice that it's all changing here, but it's not necessarily changing up here, right? The space can be used for musical or tech. Thank you. This is exactly what I'm looking for right here. This space can be used for musical or technical notes. For example, in this scenario, the marker color appears only in the title line with the remaining text displayed on gray. That's really nice. If you use the return key to create paragraphs in the marker text area, return key, the first paragraph on text is displayed in a separate title line of the marker. So I think they're referring to this kind of thing. If I hit return, that creates a new line. If I hit return, that creates a new line. As you can see, all reflected in the marker on the ruler. All right, move the playhead to a marker. So now we're navigating by use of markers. We can quickly jump. We can edit, right? It's nice. You can option click on the marker. So you can basically navigate back and forth in this manner, right? Isn't that nice? We can, I'm sure, option click up here or just click, right? And that's kind of sweet too. Use the key command, go to marker, right? One of my favorites is go to position, but there's also a go to marker key command, and that's also very nice. Again, if I start hitting the key command for markers, I don't have it set up. Sorry about that. I don't have it set up on my system, but there it is, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I thought I didn't have it set up. So I'm hitting numerical key number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. This is a nice way of navigating the, you know, this is actually a good mixing trick too. You can listen to the intro. Right, really nice way of just checking the continuity of a song altogether. All right, so that's 712. Move to the next or previous marker. There's a key command for this, my good friends, right, which allows us to move. Let me see if I could find that for you. Go to previous marker. So it's not assigned, and I'm not going to assign it. I usually don't work like this, and if I do, I just use the keys. Create a cycle from marker. Drag the marker to the upper part of the ruler. We did that already. There was some other stuff that I need to figure out, but select the marker, then use one of the key commands. So set locators by marker and enable cycle. So there's other key commands that we can do. Set locators by previous marker and enable cycle. Let's see if any of these are set locators to a corresponding key command. Set locators. Anything good? Command you I use all the time. Okay, this one. Let's do Control Option C. And then is there anything else? Yeah, maybe this one too. Okay, let's try this out. So I'm gonna click on that. Okay, so that's cool. Let's do oh, that is awesome. Guys, I can use the markers as a way to create or automatically create, should I say, a cycle region. So that is Control Option period or comma. You really got to try this out. It's amazing. And I always set up markers, so this is really sweet. I need to highlight that. Where was that? Oh yeah, that's this right here. Gold mine. Thank you very much, Logic. I love it. So that's cool. Make sure you understand how to work that. We pretty much have gone over everything with the exception of marker sets. And so let's dig into that now. You can create marker sets and choose between different marker sets in a project. Only markers that are part of the current set appear on the marker track, right? So we can change them. Creating different marker sets lets you use markers for different purposes. Why? Identifying sections, adding performance notes, preserving production information, yada, yada. Create a marker set. I've taught you how to do that, right? Pretty simple. I will show it to you in a second rather than just telling you. I'm actually going to show you. We can delete marker list if we want to, or sets, should I say. Set the marker display list in the Logic Pro marker list. There are 2 display options for marker positions. You can switch between bar positions, and I showed you that earlier just by mistake. If you go into view, you can actually show the event position and the length as time. We can also show the length as absolute position. So let's look at that. I think that'd be a point of interest. So let's go marker list, and I'm looking at absolute under view. Yeah, length is absolute position. All right, so I think that's what I currently have. But if I change it, I can change it to that. But I prefer this one myself. All right, cool. Use marker information from audio files. Okay, when you record or bounce an audio file, the current marker list is added. Oh, that's cool. In some situations, you may want to import marker information from an audio file. That's. I wonder if this only pertains to waves or AIFFs. I wish they would say that. I'm not sure if it does. But import marker information from an audio file. You would go to navigate, import markers from audio file. Why is this important? Well, let's say there is a certain guideline that you have to follow for certain clients, right? I know the world of licensing that, basically I have clients that want songs in certain structures, certain ways. We would import the marker information from an existing audio file. You could do this also with references just to get your game tight right away. But again, this can also be pre-configured, pre-made so that you can just work a little bit faster. And actually, that's something that I will highlight for future notes. Remove marker information. You can also take that off if you want to, and then export marker information as well. All right, my good friends, we're going to delete these as well. We can use the eraser tool, control click and hit delete, right? Lots of ways to do that. Go into the edit menu, so on and so forth. Let me go ahead and save here. Let me just give you a quick example of what this is going to look like in real time. So let's say we are experimenting. We are in the thick of it, right? We're in the throes. And we're like, yeah, we got to change the setup, right? I'm not sure about this song, right? So it's like, cool, let's go to marker sets. We'll create a new set. We can even duplicate this one, and then we can start to arrange. So in this case, I would, call this second arrangement, right? So then you wouldn't, I mean, you can, but you wouldn't rearrange it this way. The secret, in my opinion, is to then go here and convert to arrangement markers. Now, why this is beautiful is because I could literally take everything between bar 7 and 9 now, or between bar 11 and 13, whatever, and I could just completely alter the song in seconds flat. So I'm going to take this middle section. This is just a demo, so obviously this is not a real song, but let me click and drag it to the left, and you'll see that basically now it completely has rearranged my song based on that change. So let me hit Command Z. Let me give you another example. So as of right now, my intro is just silence, correct? So, we could rename this silence just to kind of, just stay organized. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Option. I'm going to drag this over after the second verse. And so, why didn't it go there? Let me try that one more time. Option, drag. There it goes right there. So then now I'm organizing my song based on the information inside of the arrangement marker list, which is really nice. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more, but this is a much preferred way of going about this. Let's try one more. I'm going to take this one here. I will bring it over to bar 1. Very cool. And that's one way to look at it, one way to think about it. All right, my good friends, we are going to do a lot more. The next time I see you, we're going to be talking about arrangement markers and how to better arrange your song. I just kind of give you a quick intro, but in fact, we will cover everything that you need to know. As far as these markers, there's a lot of power here. Spend some time getting to know them. Perhaps you've been trying to find a way to get better, and you're wondering what's next. I've worked on EQing, I've worked on compression, I've worked on the program. What's next? I believe that if you put your attention on a lot of the small things that by and far between, what's going to make the biggest difference is those little actions, because one day we will wake up, we will look back, and we will see a beautiful path, a mountain of effort and focus, but it's going to take a lot of little things. So right now, for today, let's go back to the dojo. Let's get organized. Let's look at markers and how to best utilize them. Even if you don't use them on a day-to-day, start to implement them, because they will make a difference when you're with clients, when you hang out with an agent, a publisher. You don't want to just show them sessions that look like garbage, right? You want to show them impressive architecture. You want to show them a craftsman, somebody that really knows what they're doing, somebody that is all about that life. And so with that being said, this is Eddie Gray signing off, reading the Logic User Guide. If you love what we're doing, go ahead and support the channel by means of anything. You can share, right? Super chat, anything you guys want to do. We're so happy to be able to be a part of your journey and to be able to have your trust and your love and your respect. All right, we're going to get out of here. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Hit that notification bell so we can meet again. See ya.